It's been a very interesting year for the first 10 months of it. Right? Very interesting. And we've got good news too, which I would share the mic now with Jean Cannon, who's been the super leader of all of the water quality things that are happening on our Cape. So here you go, Jean.
Thank you. All right, tonight what I'm going to do is start off with our team. And I'm going to have Dave give the first presentation. Phil will be second, and I will be playing one of his wonderful videos, and then I will close. And the idea for tonight's presentation is to let you know, this is almost a year. Next month was when we got the December is when we had approval last year to begin this project. So Dave is going to give you a recap from the science side of the project and what we're doing. And then you're going to hear from Phil from the habitat and colonization. Then you're going to hear from me on what we see, where we think we're going. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. Dave, you're up next.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. I know we're running short on time, so I'm going to go kind of quickly. Just wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about the program, as Jean says. So if any of you, like me, live on the canal or get any exposure to the canal, you, I think, would agree with these basic observations that we see a very limited water flow happening through the canal. You know, there really is only one opening of the 9-mile canal system out to Sarasota Bay, and that's on the very top end of this graphic here. There's been decreasing water levels in some areas. This is actually a map that shows the depths. This is information that the county and the Inland Water District created many years ago, but those red dots show that the average depth is less than 3 feet. And you can see that that's a good portion of portions of the canal. So we have an issue with water levels, and we certainly have been observing deteriorating water quality and clarity. And we are particularly alarmed by a few potential hazards in the water, the lower dissolved oxygen levels and nitrate levels, which, by the way, nitrate is a major contributor to the red tide as well. Go to the next slide. So as Jean said, just about a year ago, under Jean's incredible leadership, by the way, she's been amazing. We really started up this project. There's a number of areas that we want to get into to try to improve the water quality and improve education for everyone on the Key on how we can make this better. But the major action so far has been installing these mini reefs under many of the docks that are along the 9-mile canal system. So some of our initial work has been getting an inventory of what is out there. So along the 9-mile system, we've recorded that there are 878 homes with docks. A lot of people are surprised how large the whole system is, by the way. And so to date, we have 99 homes, so representing 11% of that total, that have installed the mini reefs, and that's a total of 132 mini reefs. Most people have installed them have put one under their dock system. Some people have put 2, 3, even 4. And we think that number is going to be increasing quite a bit. As we started up this effort, we made a very conscious decision to try to divide up this 9-mile system into these 4 zones that are shown up on this map. So when you see items reported, we're going to try to do the total for the entire canal system, but also report things by these different zones. They each have their own unique characteristics. That's a helpful way to take a look at it. Why don't we go to the next slide, Jean?
Okay, before we go off, I want to make a mention about the fact that we're looking at all of Siesta Key's waters. We're looking to put mini reefs wherever we can, where there's a dock. And the purpose, again, is the same thing, to create habitat. We have selected the canal because it is a closed area, and we can control that with our science, get science out of that to help drive what we do within our other initiatives.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I did mean to start off with that we're focused on this discussion on the canal but there are other waterways that we're getting actively involved in as well. So in addition to a very basic inventory that I showed on the previous slide of, the locations of these mini reefs and getting into the numbers, we're creating a Google Earth mapping system. And this is actually an out-of-date slide shot of that, but we're identifying every location on the canal that has one or more of the mini reefs. We've been color coding those to reflect the date of the installation over the last year. And we're beginning to add additional information. The Google Earth tool is pretty amazing if you've ever been exposed to it. I mean, this is a very broad view, but we can get very close up. We can get street views. We can get really dig into the mapping of it quite a bit. So we're going to be adding more information to this over time. Why don't we go to the next one, Jean?
I will. One more thing I want to mention.
Yep.
I am finding people that have wells and have fresh water that were on springs. Some of them are still operating, but some are beginning to get salt water intrusion. So you have to watch that, because if you're using it to water your lawns or your flowers, you'll find out pretty quickly it's the wrong water. So careful.
Yeah. And one of the items on this list here is of big importance, I think, to me anyway, is the stormwater drains. There's an extensive network of these drains that are feeding into the canal. And so after we have major rain events, which Lord knows we have lots of major rain events here, there's all kinds of things floating into that canal, and we need to get a better handle on that. Okay, next. So in addition to the Google Earth mapping, we're creating a database. Right now, it's a pretty simple spreadsheet, but we're taking some moves to make this a bit more complex and robust. We have a basic inventory of all of those addresses that have the mini reefs and basic descriptive information. Every time we are out there testing the water quality or video monitoring or some other action, then we're recording that event and attaching it to the particular address that is taking place. So you can kind of see the very basic information that we are recording into this database. The third column from the left is the water testing measures that we're interested in capturing, and have been capturing some of those. Salinity, pH, dissolved oxygen, as I mentioned before, and there's a typo on the last one, it's chlorophyll. Those are the technical water measurement issues that we really want to get into. Phil is going to talk about the video monitoring, where we're really getting a good visual representation of the marine life activity around the mini reefs. We'll go to the next one.
Right. One more thing I'm going to add, Dave. The measurements that are there are what we want. We are not getting all of them because we don't have the proper digital tools yet.
Yeah, so that's what you set me up. That's what I was going to say in the next slide. That's fine. Right. Go. Yeah, that's fine. So we've been coordinating a lot with staff from Moat Marine, from the University of Florida Extension Program, from the Florida Water Watch group, as well as from other communities on the Gulf Coast who, in our particular area of the Gulf Coast, who are undertaking similar activities. Anna Maria Island, Venice, Englewood. We've been coordinating with them and trying to be consistent on getting the same information. This photo on the right is the actual testing equipment that they use. This is from Anna Maria Island, but they have the same equipment in Venice, and we are in the process, Jean, we're identifying the equipment and what our needs are so that we can get those technical measures that I referenced before. We are not there yet. We've been able to use equipment that we've been able to borrow from folks, but we need to get our own equipment so we can be out there on a regular basis collecting this information. So maybe we'll go to the next one so I can kind of wrap up and turn it over to Phil. So we have limited data at this point, and it's clear that we really need to keep science in this. We really need to make sure that we're tracking the data over time. in different weather conditions and in different tides. But we can already see just from some of our observations that there have been some changes over time. There was a study that referencing here back in 1974. It was actually done by the Mote Marine Lab, and actually another one done by New College, which did some very basic measurements all along at a number of sites all along the Grand Canal system. And again, it's very, very early on, but you can start to see trends where the water levels, the depths there's less water in the canal now because of the sediment building up on the bottom of the canal. There are lower readings on salinity and lower readings on the dissolved oxygen. And the dissolved oxygen, as maybe Phil will talk about, is very, very critical for the colonization of marine life in the canal. So there's more work to be done. We need to get the equipment in place so that we can collect this data. And I think when you see what Phil is doing, I think we're going to see a lot of great value from the video monitoring of the increases in marine life that show up around the mini reefs.
Thank you, Chairman and Commissioners. My name is Philip Chiocchio, Siesta Key Association, Grand Canal Regeneration Project. What we want to do is concentrate 30 of them. So we've applied for this grant, put them into a section so we can do a colonization study. So think of the Grand Canal and the other hundreds of miles of canals in the county as roadways, but there was never any housing added for the fisheries, for the juveniles or the mollusks. These are just trenches that developers dug. It's possibilities now for all kinds of activity, not just to catch fish. This is not for the person that has the dock where this is located. It's for everyone. So I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
This is certainly looks like a successful one that you're working on, but I just want to make sure that everyone coordinates the effort. Mote, I think we probably have IFAS that could help. So just reach out and
Yes,
we're willing to help.
I'm the former coordinator of broadcasting for IFAS at the University of
great.
Florida in fisheries and aquatic plants. So we've got the connections up there. This is all new. This is all citizen-initiated thing.
What do you need from us? What's the ask for us?
This is part of the initiative, the grant initiative, so we want, of course, to get that approved. But then a bigger picture is, if this works in this little community that I built, which has got water treatment, it's got food, it's got housing, we can replicate that rather rapidly. This is only 112 days, and we've got some that have been in 2 years, and there's oysters in there. It's really fun.
Make sure you communicate with us on all that stuff, because I think it's a no-brainer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To put perspective on this, in 6 years of sitting in this seat, I think on one hand, I can count how many times I've commented it open to the public. Open to the public is time for people to be heard, good or bad, to come to us, and it's not a time for us to talk, it's time for us to listen. So again, on 6 years, on one hand, I've ever made a comment. That's how impressed I am by this.
So the fact that you have all these commissioners actually engaging you is pretty noteworthy. You did a great job.
Thank you.
The synergy of having 2 mini reefs or more under every dock is better for the fishery, and exponential growth of marine life occurs. You can see the fans of the polychaeta worms capturing sediments and eating phytoplankton. Colonization has begun. We are seeing more mangrove snapper and sheepshead moving in. Birds can now perch on the top and reach a meal. Nature works quite fast if humans create an opportunity. The Grand Canal had a huge heart shaped into its original design. Now we are rapidly filling that heart's watery veins and arteries with fish, crabs, and cleaner water after practically no habitat added for almost 100 years. We need your interest and help to add as many mini reefs and other habitat options into the Grand Canal as fast as we can. The world is watching, and the planet is rooting for our success. Join us.
Okay, so what are we doing next and where are we? Where are we growing? Well, you guys can see that what we need to do is continue with our habitat. The habitat's critical. One of the things that's going on is the seawalls are not providing an area for fish to hide so they can grow. So we need to have habitat that's going to allow this. And we need to expand this habitat to also include food. We know that. We know that the sea life, especially our manatees, are not getting the right kind of food. So we need to be able to do that. So that's the things we're going to concentrate on this next year. What we've done is we've pitching the project locally. I've asked Catherine and Bob to help out. I want to go to the condos. I want to go to the homeowners association. I want to pitch this because again, concentration of this habitat's critical to continue to allow it to grow. So the more we can get groups of it set up, our grant for the Sarasota County is to put 30 mini reefs it is going to be Commonwealth Lane, Commonwealth Place, and then one on Commonwealth. We're taking a whole channel and we're going to concentrate 30 in to see what we can get. We have an area in the Sandies, Sandy Beach, Sandy, whatever. There's like 4 sand, so we call it the Sandies. And we have a concentration in there, and they were actually catching 22-inch tarpon off their docks with casting because these mini reefs are bringing the fish in. So we're seeing them happen. I got 65 comments from citizens that have installed this and the changes they have seen with the habitat that's been put in the canals. The second thing we said, so we need to pitch it, get more installed. We need to add the food, mangroves. Now, guys, we can put and plant mangroves and you can cut windows in them. So they don't have to be a whole wall that will block your view. You can have them on the water and we can get them. The county will come in and show you how to cut them so you can get a window here or there. It will protect your seawall. It will protect a lot of areas around the bay because it will hold that sand in place. So it's important that we do that. We also we've got another thing we've engaged with a couple of the schools, with the one on the Key, the Out of Doors Academy, and we're going to start stenciling with the kids on the storm drains so they can put the message out about what goes in there ends up in our waters. The other thing we're going to be doing is, I meant to bring it in here. We're going to be putting together these strings of oysters on steel line that hangs on the dock, and it again access habitat and attracts oysters and other things to attach onto it. So we'll have other kinds of things that the kids can build and that we will sell or put out. Education. One of the things that's so critical is to use that data about our science and what we're doing and put this out to people so we know our water is green, guys. That's the nutrients that are in it. It doesn't have the salinity that can support a lot of life. So we have to start doing some things with oxygen. We have 2 studies going on in oxygen, dissolved oxygen. We've got that going on. Phil's doing that one. And we've got nanobubbles, which is a Moliere, which is a company that works with Moat, that's doing a nanobubbles. It runs at the bottom of the water and it starts to break down the nutrients that are down there. So we want to try to get that working and see how that goes. And then we have to continue to educate our community so they know where things are going. We need to invest in the digital equipment for doing our monitoring. So what I'm saying is that we can go ahead and do the monitoring with the handheld equipment you saw that Dave had. But when you're in a kayak and you have to bend over 18 inches to go get your water sample, you need 2 people to hold you so you don't fall out. So this is the kind of thing that we have to work on, is get a better kind of handle for how we can all do this and get a sense for what's going on.
So we're looking for volunteers to hold people by their feet.
That's it. Right now, we take 3 people out on a kayak, so 2 can hold the one kayak. Okay, so we want to invest also, as I said, in the data monitoring that we've got. We've got some great volunteers too that are coming on board, so I think we're really going to start to expand. In closing, what I want to say is that we've had a wonderful year. We've done well. We've done really, really well, but we need to make a little bit more dent on the habitat. As you can see, we're only like 10%. So we have to move that up in the 40 and 50s to start really seeing some difference. The second thing we have is grants. We got 1 grant now with the C grant for the dissolved oxygen. We have the grant with the Commonwealth project. And the other thing we've done is build partnerships. We've got a Blue Water Coalition going with the Center of Anna Marie. And I want to point out that they're going to be presenting at Sarasota's Roots of Sustainability. And they're going to be presenting our project, their project, and Venice's project. We've all worked together to be able to put this together. And so they've been asked to be this main speaker at Sarasota Sustainability. And I thought it was interesting that the county commissioners haven't heard about it. And yet Mike Moran is running the conference. So he'll hear about it when Jack presents. Okay. And then I want to say thank you to the Siesta Key residents. We wouldn't have got those installs without your help. And we've gotten a lot of volunteers. I want to say thank you all for your help to make this happen. Thank you.
So any other questions, comments, things, if you want to contact us, you know, call the number. Your messages get translated into an email to us and we will answer you. Somebody will, right? Joyce does a lot of the answering, but she wants to make sure she has other people helping, and we will help her answer all of
I
this.
wrote a letter to the editor this week about all the crap going on.
Yeah, that's
They
great.
put it in the paper, so I was glad about that. I have one for tomorrow.
And did we have, Joe, do you want to ask a question or something before we end?
What are we doing to get the hump out of the entrance to the canal?
Sure. There's two ways you can do it. One, you can set up a special taxing district to get it done, or individually you can do it. There's no, right now, as you know, Joe, is no way. We need a public spot on the water in the canal. So we need some sort of a public dock, whether it can't be just a kayak launch. So it has to be a restaurant or some public variance that will want people to come in before the West Coast Inland Navigation District will do any kind of dredging. So go ahead.
What was the problem getting a permit to do it?
No, once the county can get the permit, if we went ahead and decided to be a taxing district, being for that, money would go into it and the
People would have
county
to
would
pay
take over.
taxes.
Yes, people would have to pay taxes for it. So we are going to have to dredge this one sooner or later. We're not going to get away with, you saw the water changing. Since 1974, it's gone from like 8 to 10 feet down to 4 to 6 feet. So it's going to fill in. We're building so much and not really cleaning it out. So this is what we've got.
Well, let's just get a friend with a tugboat. Come and help us with this project.
Yeah. But it's not just one. Over by the bridge, the one on Midnight Pass, there's also a big hump on the right side of that bridge. So there's two where we have humps, but we've got a tremendous problem on the Sierra Sands on the left side of the canal. So if you look at the canal on the left side, top left, it gets dry in the wintertime now. They don't get much water over there at all. If it's 1 foot.
If
It's
we
a lot.
build a beach, they will come.
The whole thing's being created by boats feeding them out of the canal and accelerating out.
Yes, sir.
Being far out.
Yes, sir.
Can we get buoys put out there? Form them, you know,
Yeah.
solenoidal zone.
We can always do something like that, that is, again, you could put something out to tell people to keep, like you said, an idle zone and don't throttle out. But I think that that's going to be a challenge. I think what we have to do is really look more seriously at a dredging program of some sort and how we can fund it. I think that's going to be the solution. But that's the reason why we have to go around and talk to the homeowner associations and the condo association, because we have to figure out how we can improve the water, because honestly, it's an asset to us and all of us enjoy that water. And as you heard from Phil, one of the things that Phil said, which was really important, it's not just for the homeowners on the canal, it's for all of us. We get the fish, we get the quality of life, we get the birds. So I think it's something that we have to all work on.